Good evening. I would like to call the business meeting of the Portland Board of Public Education to order. It is Tuesday, June 6, 2017, and the Portland Board of Education is meeting at City Hall and Council Chambers. May I ask the superintendent to please call the roll?
Yes, Madam Chair. Ms. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Eater?
Here.
Ms. Hatzenbuehler?
Here.
Ms. Morioni?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Presente.
Ms. Seeliger?
Here.
Ms. Thompson?
Here.
Ms. Vendel?
Here.
Ms. Donato?
Here.
Ms. Hassan? Ms. Farah? And Mr. Siegel? And Chair Terraro?
Here. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And to begin tonight, for the report of the chair and the superintendent, we have staff retirement. So I'll turn it over to the superintendent.
Yes, Madam Chair. Today we are thrilled to honor a group of incredibly dedicated individuals who have given many years of their lives professionally to the Portland Public Schools, and that have made the decision to that this would be the year, that this is the time that they are ready to go on to do other amazing things. I've had the pleasure of meeting many of these fine educators over the course of the past year and some just today, and I am always thrilled to talk to folks that have been in this profession for as long as they have and that are moving on to do other things, whether it's spending more time with family, teaching at the university level, taking care of grandchildren, traveling, gardening, all of those amazing opportunities that are ahead for you. And I just want to say on behalf of the Portland Public Schools that our educators are the most amazing people in the world. I always tell our folks that, you know, education is the most life-changing profession in the world, and it doesn't get the recognition that it deserves. So it's extremely humbling for me today, on behalf of the board, on behalf of the entire school district, to congratulate and, above all, thank you for your years of service to the Portland Public Schools, to our city, to the state, and to the entire world, because the work that you do changes the world. And so I can't say that with enough sentiment. So thank you very much for all that you've done. So as part of our process today, we want to recognize each of you individually, and we have somebody, your principal or one of us, that will be speaking briefly about your contributions to the district. And Madam Chair and I will come around to congratulate you. We'll ask the principal to come up to the microphone and speak briefly about you, and then we have a small token of our appreciation for you for all that you've given to the Portland Public Schools. So, do that. Okay, so we're going to start with Riverton. We're going to start with Riverton School and Principal Jeannie Malia.
Okay. Okay. I'd like to have Mary D. Stinson come up, please.
There are many adjectives and ways to describe Mary D. Don't look at me. And what she has done for our school and students. Sam says that she is nice and kind. Lawrence says she is helpful. Ashley says she is a very, 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 very good teacher. Her students and our staff have the greatest respect and admiration for Mary D. She has been a leader in the classroom, at her grade level, on the leadership team, and as a building union representative. I have consulted with Mary D. many times in problem solving, how we can continue to move our school forward and build collaboration at all levels. We, from the district to the classroom to the community, are very fortunate to learn from and work with such a professional. As you leave, we wish you all the best. Sam wants you to move to a new school with new kids in Florida or Connecticut. Elena wants you to go to Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts because she gave you gift cards to go there. But Jacob sums it up best by wanting you to chill. Thank you, Mary D. Mr. Hassan. Mr. Hassan has been at Riverton for 19 years.
Almost.
Okay,
20 years.
okay, all right. During that time, he has helped our school build connections with our Somali community. He has interpreted at parent conferences, IEP meetings, parent academies, and many school events. Mr. Hassan has supported students in the library, on the playground, in the cafeteria, and in the classroom. I love watching Mr. Hassan in kindergarten. There he is, sitting on one of those little chairs, having a wonderful time helping students read. Khalid likes how you help him with words he doesn't know. Ganza likes how you help him spell words, and Tanner wants to thank you for helping him learn. We, the district, our school, and community all want to thank you for everything you have done for our students, parents, and teachers. Albertina wants you to go home and rest. And according to Albertina, when you are done resting, you can come back. And that is what I've been trying to do. I think Mr. Hassan and I should come back as a package deal. I have been trying to convince him we could be bus drivers, lunch aides, or crossing guards. What do you think, Mr. Hassan?
Let's see, I cannot drive a bus.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hassan, for everything.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Malia? Not yet. A principal's work is never done. So Riverton is really taking a very hard hit this year. We're losing 2 incredible staff members who have been dedicated, incredible employees at Riverton for a long time. And they have been leaders. But we're also losing Jeannie Malia, the leader of these leaders. Jeannie started her career in teaching in Portland in 1975.
I was 5.
Yes. If you didn't hear that, she said I was 5. And she was with us then for 6 years, and then for a year and a half, she served as Assistant Director of Special Education. And then Jeannie brought her talents to other places throughout the country. Luckily for us, she decided to bookend her career on this end, back in Portland where she belongs. And she has been the leader, indomitable, full of spirit, relentless, and dedicated for these years at Riverton School. She has been everything to everybody, to the parents, to the students, including our girlfriend Albertina, and to her staff. And what has happened at Riverton School in these years has been nothing short of a miracle. And that is due to Jeannie's leadership and to her ability to rally those around her to make amazing things happen for the students of the Riverton School community. And she has done that with grace, with drive, with ambition, and she has been relentless in doing everything that is right for those students. We wish her many, many years of great happiness and travels. There are a lot of places Jeannie needs to go back to and a lot of new places to visit. Hopefully she'll send us postcards. But as we do that, I would ask everybody to join me in honoring this extraordinary leader who has given her entire career to the children of Portland, Maine, and other places throughout this country, selflessly and with great distinction. Jeannie Malia.
Next, we have Ocean Avenue Elementary School, and we have Beth, Dr. Corsi, you're here? Great.
And I'm inviting Linda to come up. Nilda Picard was one of the very first people I met when I came to Portland. She was the secretary at Clifford School at that point, and when I came to Portland, there was a lot of things to learn, and Nilda was so gracious to me, and she would say, we do it like this, we do it like this. I would ask 1,000 questions, and she was so patient with me, so I so appreciate that. We moved together to Ocean Ave School, and her seat is right in the window, so you come and go, and you see Linda there, Captain Picard, as we call her sometimes, driving the ship. And she waves to all the kids, and she is so happy to see them, and she's the first person they see when they come to school and when they leave school. Everyone is extremely sad that Linda is leaving. She took a personal day recently to wrap up some things for retirement, and she came to school. She came to school because we had a wonderful concert, and she didn't want to miss the kids. This is the dedication and compassion. The parents are going to miss you. They love talking to you on the phone. They so appreciate your French speaking, and you're able to get us through. So thank you so very, very much for spending your days with us. Thank you.
Lincoln Middle School. Beth Connolly.
I'm going to ask Rhonda Mayer and Jane Lombard to join me. I'm Bethany Connolly. I'm the assistant principal at Lincoln. Sue Ellen Santiago, the principal, wanted to be here, but is actually at Hall School watching her daughters perform in their spring concert. So she asked me to speak on behalf of her and the staff at Lincoln to honor Jane Lombard and Rhonda Mayer, who are both retiring. I will start with Rhonda, who is right there. Rhonda has been a teacher at Lincoln for 31 years and an educator for 35. I just found out about 20 minutes ago, even though I've known you for 20 years, that you started your career in Blue Hill, went to Turner, and then came to Lincoln as the family and consumer science teacher at Lincoln. Rhonda has worked so hard over her whole career to really help students develop crucial skills that they don't necessarily learn in other classes, to foster community partnerships, to bring authentic learning opportunities to all of the students that she teaches. She has been the advisor for many clubs and activities in her time at Lincoln, most recently the Cooking Club, which she partnered with a community organization to start. She has run a school store. She has brought those little computer babies that kids bring home and learn a very valuable life lesson to our school. And so she decided relatively recently in April that it was time for her to go on to the next phase of her life, which will include spending a lot of time with her family. She has 2 children, Rachel and Sam, being able to travel to see her mother and support her husband Greg's business. So we wish Rhonda the very, very best, and we'll miss you incredibly at Lincoln. Next, we have Jane Lombard. Jane has been teaching in Portland Public Schools for 24 years. She started her career as an elementary teacher at Jack Elementary School. In between, or at some point while she was at Jack, taught in the basement of the CVS on Congress Street when they were in the process of closing the school, and joined us at Lincoln 15 years ago, which does not even seem possible, I know. And so when Jane joined the team at Lincoln, she taught 7th grade science, I believe, and language arts, and has played many different roles at Lincoln. Jane is currently an 8th grade language arts teacher, has been an incredible leader of the language arts team over the years, and really helped kind of move the work of that team forward. She acted in an interim role as our teaching strategist one year when I was the interim assistant principal, and it was like we didn't skip a beat under Jane's leadership in that role. She has been a house chair and advisor for the civil rights team. When I think about all that Jane has done, she constantly reminds me that, you know, they're not going to name the gym after you, Bethany. But, you know, you never know. Miss Lombard, maybe they will. The Lombard, you know, Learning Commons or something. And so, you know, if you ask Jane what it is she's going to do with her retirement, she's very serious and says probably a race car driver or a bookie. Both have their merits, and I think what that translates into is Jane will do whatever she wants, which I imagine will include a lot of travel, fishing, reading books for pleasure and not argumentative essays. Although I'm sure you could help, and people would be thrilled with that. So thank you so much, Jane, for your years of service to Portland Public Schools, and especially Lincoln and our students.
Thank you.
So next is going to be Portland High School, and Ms. Jepson is here to do that. I realized that I forgot something, and Janet, who's so patient with me, is probably going, he forgot something again, that each of our retirees is receiving a engraved clock from the district as a commemoration of their retirement, and also to remind them that they don't have to get up. It's not an alarm clock. And they're also, they all had an opportunity to tell us what book they would like for us to purchase and donate to the school library. And so they've done that, and they're getting with their clock bookmarker that has information about a quote from that particular book. So that's what they're getting in these boxes. So with that, Sheila?
Thank you, and I'd like to invite Angela Cody and Phil Tebow to join me. So I'm going to start with Angela. Angela has spent her entire career at Portland Public Schools, and that would be 34 years. She was a year at Lincoln, 17 years at Lyman Moore, and 16 years at Portland High. Angela has a lovely sense of humor with her students and unshakable belief in their abilities. She is creative, thoughtful, and very student-centered. This year, she's been an important voice for world language, students and teachers as a member of the sophomore team. She continued to be a reflective practitioner even after she announced her retirement by participating in a professional learning group during lunch, like once a month. She's always willing to help colleagues, whether with sub-plans or best practice or just a listening ear. Angela sought out our new Portuguese-speaking students and spoke with them, which I'm sure was welcome on their first days of school. She often reads the same books that are being taught in her students' English classes, especially those with Hispanic themes, so she can discuss them with her Spanish students. I am very happy to have had a year with Angela, and I've learned a lot about who she is in the classroom, and I wish her the best. Mr. Tebow. Phil Tebow has been in the Portland Public Schools since 1986, also spent some time at Lyman Moore, and has been at Portland High. Phil has great energy and sense of humor in his classroom. He's taught French for most of his career, but also joined our Latin program, and has also this year been part of our musical theater program. Phil has made learning world language fun with his many original songs, many of which he also dances to in class. He's always said yes to challenges, whether it be learning Latin or teaching a new course. And this past week, I've observed him with our senior class, and he's preparing them to sing. And if you're at our graduation on Thursday morning, Mr. Tebow is playing the organ. And he is practicing having our students do vocal warm-ups. And you can imagine 150 students, and he's standing in front of them doing oohs and ahs and lows and highs, and all 150 of them are participating. This morning, they started singing without a warm-up, and students asked if they could do a warm-up with Mr. Tebow. It was wonderful. He's always ready with a joke to lighten a tense situation. He's a father figure to many young men. He's led countless trips to Canada while at Lyman Moore, and several to France with his wife Pat, who teaches at Greeley High School. Phil teaches French at St. Joseph's College. He's an in-demand organist. He founded BARC, which is an all-male singing group at Portland High, and he's played at numerous graduations. He will be sorely missed.
Thank you so much.
Next, I would like to invite Deb Mullis to come up and honor a retiree.
So Lisa Dillon, would you come up, please? So I want you all to know that if we can keep Lisa Dillon out of a cast for the next 2.5 weeks, she'll start a lovely retirement. Lisa's worked as a special educator, a school psychologist, a special ed team leader, and has worked for Portland Public Schools for the last 11 years. Lisa is a tireless special educator who is a constant advocate for students with disabilities and a champion for all children. Thank you, Lisa. Congratulations on your retirement and on a hugely successful career in education. We'll miss you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Grace Valenzuela.
Good evening. One of the things that visitors who come to our office remark about when they visit the Multilingual Center is how welcoming, inviting, warm our office is. And our retiree, Lila Conley, who is our office manager, is largely responsible for setting that tone. Lila has dedicated 30 years of service for Portland Public Schools as office manager for a multilingual center. And in all these years, Lila, you had made the office a homey place to work, where everyone counts, their needs attended kindly, and their birthdays remembered. Working with you was such a pleasure. I always appreciated your efficiency and your thoughtful, steady approach to solving any problem, large or small. I valued your opinion, as most of the time you have the pulse of everyone's thoughts and feelings. You proved that it doesn't take a loud voice to accomplish tremendous things. Thank you for the way you have nurtured each of us at the center and all of us together. Here's how Tim Cronin, one of our staff members, characterized your work. Lila has provided me with assistance and administrative support for the extra demands that our programming put on her. She has done so without complaint and with integrity and in a professional and caring manner. You will be missed, Lila, but I know your retirement is the right thing at this time. Our retirement is a perfect opportunity to experience everything you missed out while working hard and earning it. May the next phase of your life bring you all that you seek and more. I wish you lots of joys and glorious times with your family. Best of luck and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, Grace.
And last, but by no means least, I would like to speak briefly about Sharon Prey, who is retiring this year from being our Chief Academic Officer. Sharon. Congratulations. Thanks. Sharon is a force. I met Sharon briefly after starting here last year, and at the time we obviously had an opening in the Chief Academic Office. We had tried to fill the position and had not found a suitable candidate. And I met Sharon, and people told me, you should really talk to Sharon. She would be a great Chief Academic Officer. So I approached her and said, Sharon, I've only met you recently. People have said to me that you would be a great Chief Academic Officer. You didn't apply for the position. What gives? And Sharon said, well, I'll tell you, I intend to retire at the end of this year. So we started talking, and I immediately knew that Sharon was the right person for that job, that Sharon, even though she was going to be with us for a brief period of time, had the deep understanding of the work that was happening in the district, had the continuity of that understanding, and would be able to help guide us through this year as we were moving forward with our proficiency work. And I can tell you without a doubt that Sharon has worked tirelessly on that. Those of you on the board that have worked with her on the curriculum committee know that she has been incredibly diligent about making sure that all of the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed as we've moved this work forward. From the school perspective, teachers that didn't understand the proficiency work as the year started have really made tremendous gains, and I give Sharon a tremendous amount of credit for that work. Sharon is a force. I said that at the beginning, and she is also somebody that you would never know all the other hidden talents that she has. So you don't know this, but Sharon also drives a bus. So we keep telling her that she has a future because we can always use additional bus drivers. So yesterday, I was in the office early, and I was signing a memorandum of understanding with an external partner, and I looked around, and there was nobody there, and I saw that Sharon was in her office. I said, will you witness this? And the first thing that Sharon said to me is, did you use a blue pen? And I said, yeah. She says, good, because I'm a notary too. So she just has a tremendous amount of hidden talents. Sharon, we will definitely miss your energy. We will miss the passion that you brought to your work, and we will absolutely be in touch, and I can't thank you enough for all the work that you've done over your years in Portland Public Schools and this past year working directly with me as Chief Academic Officer. Thank you so much. And that concludes our retirees. And I do want to take a second to say a couple things. First, that we have lots of other retirees that couldn't be here for a variety of reasons. Obviously, for all of them, we have the same recognition that we have for those folks that could be here today. So we also want to honor those folks that couldn't be here. And then this type of recognition doesn't happen without a lot of people working extremely hard to make it happen. And lots of people did that, but nobody did more to help us do what we did today, celebrate with a reception downstairs, as well as having all of these recognitions, knowing exactly who's here, exactly what book they want to donate, making sure that they had their clock, that they had the right bookmark. So I want to thank Janet Tobias, who likes to hide, but we could never do any of these things without Janet, so thank you, Janet.
You do when you... Yeah, that's what it's on. Okay. We've got... We have a couple of recognitions. And then it'll be your turn. Okay, so we do have a couple more recognitions. Okay. So actually, we're going to do your report now. So we're going to do the report of the students first, and then we'll come back to our additional recognitions. So we have Portland High School, Christina Donato.
Okay, there we go. Oh, this is loud. So good evening. So there's been a lot going on at PHS since the last time I spoke at LISEF. So one is being our very own Zara Abukar, most of you guys may know, or seen her in the newspaper. She was in the fashion program at PADS, and she went to California with her design that made it to nationals. And also, thanks to Mr. Glider, one of our teachers, he's the advisor for student council, and he has refocused student council into more of a better structure, and we'll be dealing with more of the issues and the student body issues at Portland High School. And we'll be having committees such as the school board does, and it'll be run kind of sort of like this. So we'll have like various positions, and it'll be very interesting to see that change. Also, thanks to the senior Milena Germone, who has gathered all the leadership students and groups at PHS to collaborate and to update each other on what they've been working on. This position will be taken over by the school board up next year. And another addition to PHS has been a school board bulletin board. Mr. Xavier Javier Botana saw me put up once. It's updated regularly on school board meetings, so students know what's going on and are able to see what's going on if they don't have access to a television or cannot make it here because of their difficulties or just simply don't have time. And another addition was that, and right next to it will be the International Shows Bulletin Board, which will be going up pretty soon. And yesterday we also had our underclassmen awards, and various awards were given out to students on their achievements in class and on academic progress, also effort. And these awards were very energetic and recognized many students, and the smiles on their faces were very energetic and priceless. Our spring sports regular season has come to its end. A number of our teams made it to playoffs, including girls and boys tennis, girls lacrosse, softball, and baseball, with a few of our track players participating in a state meet recently. Our seniors are finally graduating on Thursday, June 8th at 10:30 at the Merrill Auditorium. And along with congratulating our class of 2017, I'd like to thank Mrs. Cody and Mr. Tebow, who, kind of left, for their endless dedication to the language department and much more at PHS. And 5 of our other teachers were given awards last Friday during our senior farewell, Mrs. Cody being one, Mrs. Reagan, Ms. DuPont, Ms. Nick, and Mr. Lohr. The school year has flown by fairly quickly, and we made it to finals on June 16th through June 22nd, and all our students are preparing for it. And we are ready for this summer, sad to say. And that's it for my report.
Thank you, Ms. Donato. Okay. And moving back into the superintendent report.
Thank you. We were going to recognize our PATH student representative who is leaving us, Kevin Siegel, but we will do that instead at our next meeting. So I would like to start tonight by recognizing Lincoln Middle School 7th grader Emily Siegel for being one of the winners of the Maine Department of Education Maine Learning Technology Initiative Screensaver Challenge. Go for it. That's it. Emily is one of just 20 students whose artwork will be made available as screensavers this fall to approximately 70,000 students and educators statewide. Emily's artwork is called Seeing Through and is a collage of doodles. Emily said she was inspired to do the piece by her love for doodling and her new glasses, which gave her a clearer outlook on life. She credits her art teacher at Lincoln, Louis-Pierre LaChapelle, for encouraging her to enter the contest and making art class challenging and enjoyable. The winning artwork by Emily and the other students is on display at the Department of Education in Augusta in their offices until August 31st. Congratulations, Emily, and I can't wait to install your beautiful artwork as my screensaver. I'd also like to congratulate Longfellow Principal Terry Young on becoming Dr. Terry Young. He recently successfully defended his dissertation in education administration from the University of Maine, Orono. Congratulations, Dr. Young. Way to show determination and grit. Condolences go out on behalf of the Portland Public Schools family to the family, friends, and colleagues of Clay Espy Jr., who is 78, of Westbrook, who passed away on May 3rd. Mr. Espy was a former longtime Portland Public Schools teacher and also an educational technician. He began his teaching career in 1970 and worked at Deering High School, Lincoln, and Lyman Moore Middle Schools. After retiring in 1998, Mr. Espy returned as a substitute teacher and later as an ed tech at Paths, retiring from that position last summer. He will be missed by the Portland Public Schools family. As you heard earlier, it's graduation season, and I'm looking forward to speaking at 3 graduation ceremonies this week. During high school ceremony will be June 7th at the Cross Insurance Arena, so that's tomorrow. Both Portland and Casco Bay High Schools will hold their ceremonies on Thursday at Merrill Auditorium. The Portland ceremony will be in the morning and the Casco Bay graduation in the evening. I'm also looking forward to the Portland Adult Education graduation ceremony on June 15th at Merrill. Congratulations to all of our graduates, their families, and their supporters. For the 3rd year in a row, the Portland Public Schools will have a big yellow school bus as an entry in the Portland Pride Parade. Please come and participate or cheer participants on at the parade set for Saturday, June 17th. The parade is an annual event that celebrates inclusivity, diversity, and unity and begins at noon. For those riding in our signature PPS school bus or marching alongside, please arrive at the PPS lineup spot on Preble Street near Congress by 11:30. The route starts at Monument Square and ends up at Deering Oaks Park. The Portland Public Schools' participation in Portland's Pride Parade helps send an important message to our students, staff, and families and the public that the district works to foster harmony and understanding, and that it welcomes and values everyone in the Portland Public Schools. So please join us. And last but not least, I'd like to remind the Portland community to go to the polls on June 13th to vote for the school budget. The FY 2018 school budget of $105 million in change was approved by the school board and the city council. This budget will continue to allow us to provide quality services to our students. It also values our employees and is fiscally responsible, increasing spending by only 1.4%, and it will require a tax rate increase of only 2.75%. Please support our budget at the polls in June, and please keep pressure on Augusta to properly fund our schools. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent Botana. Moving into report of the Secretary. Consideration and action to approve the meeting minutes of May 16th, 2017. Is there a motion? Ms. Morioni, seconded by Ms. Hatzenbuehler. Are there any questions on the meeting minutes? Seeing none, is there any public comment on the meeting minutes? Seeing none, any board discussion? Ms. Thompson.
Just one correction under report of the superintendent. It says, number 2, everyone invited to Hall School groundbreaking on Thursday, June 2nd. It's actually Thursday, June 22nd, at 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock at the school. And the rain date is June 20th. So if there's rain called for at the beginning of that week, then they're going to have it on the 20th instead of the 22nd. But just want to reflect that it says June 2nd. It should be June 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the meeting minutes of May 16th, 2017 with that adjustment, please indicate. Okay. So we have one abstention. Ms. Davis. Okay, and we don't have committee reports tonight except to announce when the upcoming meetings are. Policy and Public Affairs is meeting on June 13th at 5:30 p.m. at the Portland District offices. Finance and Personnel is meeting on June 13th at 6 o'clock in the district offices. Operations is scheduled for June 13th at 7:30 in the district offices. And curriculum is scheduled for June 27th at 6 o'clock in the district offices. And that brings us to consent items. Would the superintendent please read the items into consent?
Yes, Madam Chair. Presumscott Elementary School received rain gear that included 30 pairs of boots from LL Bean of Freeport, Maine. Thank you. Lyman Moore Middle School's band department received instruments from Elizabeth, Peter, Sam, and Quid Guarino of Falmouth. Thank you very much. And East End Elementary School received the following donations, to each of Finder printers, Bebots, and contraptions from David and Sandy Perloff of Los Altos, California, coffee from Coffee by Design of Portland, and food for a fundraiser from Two Fat Cats of Portland. Thank you very much to all of our donors.
There is no old business this evening, and for new business, we have several first reads. We have a first read to authorize the board chair and superintendent to approve the submission of the district technology plan. A first read to authorize the board chair and superintendent to sign an MOU with the Portland Education Foundation. First read to sanction a cooperative wrestling team with the South Portland School Department. First read to authorize the board chair and superintendent to sign an MOU with the Nellie Mae Foundation. First read to revise policy JICI, Athletic and Co-Curricular Activities Code of Conduct for middle and high school students. And first read to revise policy IHBGA, homeschooling participation in school programs. And next we have personnel. Consideration and action to approve the personnel items listed. Is there a motion? Ms. Thompson, seconded by Ms. Morioni. And would the superintendent like to speak to the motion?
Sure. We are very pleased this evening to have two recommendations for administrators to join the Portland Public Schools. First, I would like to introduce Ann Hanna. Ann has been employed with the Portland Public Schools since 1990, so when she was 5. Most recently, she has been the assistant principal at Ocean Avenue, as you know, since 2011. She is currently the assistant principal of the year for the state of Maine, the elementary assistant principal of the year for the state of Maine. Prior to that, she was an elementary classroom teacher, a reading teacher, a literacy specialist, a teacher leader, and a data literacy specialist for various schools, including Adams, Jack, East End, and Ocean Ave. Ann has been a tremendous leader in this district for a very long time. She is more than ready to assume the responsibility. She has extremely large shoes to fill in the person of Jeannie Malia, as you heard earlier, but I am extremely excited to recommend Ann for the position of principal at Riverton Elementary School. The second person we're excited to welcome into the Portland Public Schools family is Mr. Scott Keyser. Scott holds a master's degree in special education as well as a bachelor's degree in communications from the University of Southern Maine. For the past 11 years, Mr. Keyser has been a special education teacher with the South Portland School District, working specifically at South Portland High School. And prior to that, he was an elementary special ed teacher at Dunn Elementary School and at Hartford Summer Elementary School. So we're extremely grateful and happy that Mr. Keyser has joined the Portland Public Schools, and we look forward to working with him in the years to come. So I'd like to ask Ann and Scott to come up. If you want to make any comments to the school board, that would be great. Probably we should wait until after the vote. I skipped it. I missed it. I'll come back. Yeah.
It won't be long.
All right. It won't be long. I'm going to keep you on pins and needles.
So we were just reminded that we missed the King Success Plan, so we'll finish up this vote and then we'll come right back to that. Are there any questions on the agenda item? Seeing none, there is no public comment where it is a personnel matter. Is there any discussion on the agenda item? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the personnel items listed, please indicate. It's unanimous with the students voting in the affirmative. And we would invite you to say a few words.
So thank you so much for this opportunity. I am so excited to become the next principal at Riverton Elementary School, and I'm especially appreciative of all the hard work that Jeannie Melia has done over the past 6 years to turn the school around. I know I have a lot to learn and some big shoes to fill, but I am grateful that I am stepping into a school that is on course and heading in the right direction and meeting the needs of all of its learners. And I would also like to say how grateful I am to be part of the Portland Public Schools now for almost 26 years. I am an example of what it means in the strategic plan for around the goal around people. Because you see, when I first started at Adams School, I didn't see myself as an administrator. I saw myself as a teacher, and I wanted to be the best teacher I could be. But my principal at the time, Deirdre Steiner, she encouraged me to take on leadership roles because she recognized within me leadership skills that I didn't really know that I had. And she believed in me, and she encouraged me to take courses in administration and to develop my capacity to be a leader, as did my principal at East End, Carol Dane, and other central office administrators like Jeannie Wynot-Vickers and Jill Blackwood, and the current administration, Javier and Jeannie, and of course Beverly Corsi. These leaders, and along with, well, they've become my mentors and my supporters, and they have inspired me to work hard and to do my best. And I am just really proud to be a member of the Portland Public Schools because it's been an incredible place for me to grow professionally beyond what I ever could have imagined for myself. So thank you for allowing me this opportunity to serve my community in this way. I am committed to supporting every member of the Riverton community to continue to learn and to grow and to reach their fullest potential too. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm honored to be here and joining the Portland schools. And I'm especially honored to be joining the community at Lincoln Middle School and Sue Ellen Santiago as assistant principal. Thank you.
Thank you both.
And so, I'm sorry, Caitlin, I was rushing through the superintendent's report and totally left you guys out. I really apologize for that. So, Caitlin, and is, yes, Pat, sorry. Caitlin LeClaire and Patricia Crowley Rockwell. I'm sorry. And my name is, I don't.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm going to turn it over to you guys. I've already.
So thank you, and thank you for backtracking a little bit in the agenda. I just said I'm Javier. So now you've set it up for us here. I'm Caitlin LeClaire, the principal at King, and Pat and I are grateful for the opportunity to, at this point in the year, to be able to highlight some of what has been happening this year at King and how that's informing our goals moving forward into next year, which is literally right around the corner at this point. So we've chosen 3 areas to highlight. I don't have a PowerPoint, but I do have a handout that covers some of what we will touch on. And as an expeditionary learning school, we think about student achievement in 3 different dimensions. And so we're going to share that with you tonight. Those dimensions are what we use to set goals each year. And the first one, they are mastery of knowledge and skills. So we think about what is it that we want our students to know and to be able to do. High quality work. We want all of our students to create complex, authentic work that demonstrates craftsmanship. And then finally, character. What are we doing as educators to make sure that our students contribute to a better world? And so we use this to really drive what we want to do for students every day at King. And we believe, and I think that you all would agree as in your roles as professionals or in the community, that when our students leave our schools and finish their learning journeys, that they will be judged by far more than their knowledge of specific content or how they did on specific tests, that they will be judged by the quality of their work
and by the quality of their character. So Pat's going to start by talking about some of the work that we've done with character this year.
So as the assistant principal, it is often my job to help students figure out who they are and their habits, because as I often say, I think you might make a different decision tomorrow. Let's go to a better decision. So character is, I think, the glue that actually holds the school together in so many ways and looks to the future. So when we think about character, we just don't kind of hope for character to be built. We teach it. We teach it first in small communities in our crew. We teach it in our classrooms. We use rubrics. We assess it. We do all of the kinds of things that really help students be successful today, be successful tomorrow, and in their future. And I think the thing that as we talk about the glue of holding things together is that when we teach it and assess it, we want students to understand it so that they are the masters of their character. They make choices every day, and those choices can be counted toward building their achievement, toward creating high-quality products. And we're really clear about the transparency between the character, that growth mindset that we talk about, and that if you work hard, or not if, when you work hard, and when you really work around perseverance and respect and responsibility, you will reap the rewards in the academic achievement, and you will reap those rewards when you share your products. And so the character, again, I sound a little bit passionate. I talk about it every day, and I see the connection, and the students see the connection when they share it with their parents during those student-led conferences. So it's the glue, it's the language, and it really is, when they leave our school district, it is what they will bring with them as successful lawyers, as successful teachers, as successful anything in the world in which we are going to be part of their future too.
Thanks, Pat. We included, we do student focus groups 3 or 4 times a year to get the pulse on what kids actually think about what's happening in our school. And so I included a quote there. We chose one that refers to our habits of work and learning. A student said, "Howls prepare you for life. Even if your academic score is very high, your Howells score says how you can get stuff done as a person." So straight from the mouth of a child. So in terms of mastery and knowledge and skills, our goal there is that we, of course, want students to demonstrate proficiency and a deep understanding of knowledge. We want our students to think critically. We want our students to communicate clearly. So we have several areas that we were working on this year under mastery of knowledge and skills, but we put a lot of energy and focus on student growth and achievement for our English language learners. And so we did that in three different ways. One was to really look carefully at how we're programming for our ELL students and different cohorts of those students to really maximize our resources within our building to meet the needs of all kids. We put a lot of energy around developing a professional development cycle or loop for all of our teachers to build capacity of all content area teachers throughout the year. And then something that we're pretty excited about, we have a team that spent the year looking at a critical King document that we use for planning learning expeditions, and they revised it through the lens of thinking about the 4 domains of speaking, reading, writing, and listening, and how when we're planning, we're really intentional about the experiences that students will have, the tasks that they will engage in, the comprehensible texts that they will work with, and using that to inform how we think about expeditions moving forward. So I included a graph that even with my strongest reading glasses on, it's hard for me to see, and I apologize, but I wanted to keep this to 1 page. But we have a small moment of celebration right now where we're looking at some access data to see, are we really gaining here? Are we making some grounds in some of the shifts that we've made? And what we're able to see in comparing just 2 years, because the test has changed, the access test, but looking to see that we are seeing that our students are growing in the different levels of green, and the rate at which they're growing is also increasing. So with confidence, we are going to focus in these same 3 areas moving forward next year. And then the last dimension of achievement where we are focusing is on high-quality student work. So a goal for us at King is for our students to create complex work that demonstrates higher order thinking, is accurate and beautiful, and a key sort of magic ingredient is something that's meaningful to the community beyond our school. And so the vehicle through which we do that, and I know many of you know this about King already, is through learning expeditions. So this year, the students of King across 3 grade levels have completed, well, almost 12 different in-depth interdisciplinary learning expeditions. 6 of them will be culminating in the next 2 weeks. So if you walked up to a student at King right now and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" 90% of them would say, "We are in crunch mode." So they are all preparing to culminate for their final expeditions, and welcome all of you to join us for those. But as a part of an expedition, we require our students to complete high-quality work. We're very fortunate to, this year, we've partnered with almost 50 community organizations, and our students have worked with, I think it's 85 community experts to help us in this work. I've picked a few sort of snapshots that are examples of the ways that we can engage students in this authentic work and then take them on that journey to produce high quality work. But for us moving forward, it sort of goes back to what I spoke to under Mastery of Knowledge and Skills. What we're really excited about is that we've been doing this for a long time, and we're taking this opportunity to look at how we can do it differently and how we can do it better to meet the needs of our all of our students. So as we move forward and thinking about next year, we will continue to deepen these goals that have been our focus around character and mastery of knowledge and skills and high quality work with some tweaks and changes along the way. So thank you for the opportunity to share. I know there's a lot to happen in this agenda, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Good. Are there any questions or comments, board members?
Just, I appreciate you talking to us and sparing us the PowerPoint. Thank you.
Yes, Christina.
Oh, yeah. So I had a few points. I liked how passionate you were when you were speaking about the school. I feel like when teachers are passionate, students are passionate to learn. And I really like how you have student groups. So like how you said you guys had it a couple times a month, or not a month, a couple times. And how you guys are looking for student opinion and student voice at young ages, because that's important, and I feel like it's very important in high school levels, and that encourages students to speak up. And the third, I had a question about, so how do you guys balance the expedition work and standardized testing like access, and how do you guys build that into like your curriculum when teachers teach, I guess, or like how do you build that off of what you're trying to teach students?
So that's a great question that educators from all over the country come and ask us, and the expeditions are the way that we take the standards and all of the targets that we need to teach in all of the content areas. There's just a theme and sort of a thread that is what pulls all of those together for each of the different content areas. So it isn't really different in that something different's happening when there's a learning expedition going on. It's just the way in which we choose to teach the standards that we have to teach. So students are still prepared for standardized tests or for access testing.
Any other questions, comments? No. I would just say thank you. This is great information. It's always great to see. I think, we saw your success plan last year, and so coming back a year to see how it's going is always great information for the board to have, and these look like really exciting expeditions, so thanks for all your work.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, moving into board focus on educational issues, we have a presentation from the Portland Education Foundation. Does the superintendent want to speak to this?
Yes, Madam Chair. Very briefly, Kate Snyder, Executive Director of the Portland Education Foundation, is here today to talk to the board. We will be asking you, as you saw in the first read, to approve the new 2-year memorandum with the Portland Education Foundation at the next meeting in June. And so in preparation for that, we thought it would be helpful for the board to, obviously you got in your packet the memorandum of understanding with its revisions, so to be able to walk through that, but more importantly, to learn about the terrific work that the executive director and the volunteer board members, several of whom are here today, have been doing over the last couple of years as we move forward to renew the agreement with the school district. So with that, I think Kate is done handing out stuff, so I'm going to turn it over to Kate.
Thank you. Thank you all for your time. My name is Kate Snyder, and what I've handed out are just hard copies of what you have in your packet, and additionally a flyer announcing an opportunity for Portland educators to shop for books for free at the Portland Public Library soon, in a couple of weeks. So I want to start out by thanking you for your time this evening and thanking you for your support over the last couple of years. I can't believe we're about to close the books on our second year as the Portland Education Foundation. I'm so grateful to the support of the district, to Superintendent Botana, Assistant Superintendent Jean Crocker, to all of you, the staff at the schools and at central office, and the community. I also want to say so many thanks to the PEF Board of Directors. I work for 13 people, 3 of whom are ex officio, so we've got Superintendent Botana, Principal Derek Pierce, and PEA President Sue Olafson, who serve as ex officio members of the board. We've got 10 other members of the board who are incredible added capacity for the district. And with me this evening is the president of the board, Mary Bennett, the vice president of the board, Ed Bryan, our treasurer, Josh Rent. We've also got Lori Dana with us. And I just can't say enough about the time and effort these folks put into generating the kind of capacity we're looking to build for Portland schools. So thank you. Oh, and Sue, yeah, Sue. Thank you, Sue. Okay, so as you all know, our job is to generate support for the district. We seek to cultivate new opportunities, to retain partners, and to seek ways to enhance relationships. We know that the return on investment is critical. I hope that the memo before you this evening will give you an opportunity to see the kind of work that we've been doing over this last fiscal year and a little bit deeper back into the first year of our work. On the first page of the memo to you, what we did was we came up with some year-to-date activities in fiscal year 17. We haven't closed the books on this year yet, so this is 11 months through the end of May. So we're happy to report that the total gifts at this point in time, taken in through the Portland Education Foundation, total just over $402,000. Thanks. The investments to date in Portland Public Schools have been about $367,000. And right above that table, you can see some itemized investments that have been made in the district. Most notably, the Teacher Grants Program, Culture Club. We have a few other grants programs that have been piloted this year that we're very excited about. For example, the Summer Innovation Grants Program administered by PEF is an opportunity for teachers in the district to apply for funds to work during the summertime, either on their own or in groups, to move work forward that they wouldn't otherwise have the time to do paid with one another. We did a pilot of that last year at Peaks Island School, and it was a great success. The foundation board and the district are excited about this opportunity to invest in summer work for teachers. So that's going great. There's a memo in your packet that tells you a little bit about those recipients. So this year it was Longfellow School, Casco Bay High School, and Portland Adult Ed. So I won't go through all of the things within the memo. Happy to take questions if you've had an opportunity to read through there. We're proud of what we're doing. We appreciate your review of the proposed MOU, which is re-upping for 2 more years, this agreement that we've got between the district and the foundation. In addition to the information that's in your packet, I encourage you to go to the PEF website, which is updated regularly with all sorts of information that we've got for teachers and for folks in the community. And lastly, I just wanted to let you know that our second annual report will be published this summer, and you'll all get a copy in August. So, lastly, as I was leaving my office today, 2 things came across my radar. The first was that just today we learned of a $10,000 grant that was awarded to PEF in support of the district doing cultural competency training with staff. This adds to other grants that we're building that budget and input from the district as well, but it's a great example of how the foundation and the district are working together to make investments in important work. So that's one of the things that we do, is write grants in support of that kind of work. And then the other thing that I was working with was looking at a side-by-side comparison of the FY17 Teacher Grants Program, which, as you can see, we distributed about $54,000, funding about 71 grants for teachers last fall. So we're building that budget for this fall, which is just a few months away. And I thought, well, I wonder if the school board knows that what we do is we build these strategies for filling that pot of money, because the $54,000 last year came from about 9 different sources. And the 9 sources represent some individual giving, but mostly foundation grants and business gifts. And so those are the kinds of things that I work on and the foundation board works on to make that pot of funding available for the distribution that happens in the fall. And we're so appreciative of so many different types of contributions that have come in to support the kind of work that we're looking to do and the support that we're looking to bring to teachers and to staff of Portland Public Schools. So as we do this work, I welcome your input, I welcome your ideas. I want to thank you all for the time that you've given me tonight, and also the time over the last couple of years, because I've had some really great feedback from you all, and I really appreciate it. That's it for me.
Any questions or comments? Ms. Hatzenbuehler.
Thank you for your hard work, everybody. Now that the superintendent has done the comprehensive planning, how is that informing how you're going to be moving forward with your foundation?
So the timing is great. The Portland Education Foundation Board has decided to earmark some funding for strategic planning of our own. So the board is going to embark on this work starting at the board's annual meeting on June 19th, working with an outside party who will come in and help the foundation actually do a 3-year strategic plan. So the district's strategic plan is really in such a great place for us, because not only do we have district representation at the table to talk about the priorities, but we have that roadmap from you all to help us create our own roadmap. So it's a great, I think the timing is really great, and the kind of information that it provides the foundation board in terms of decision making, not only at our own table, but when we're out in the community talking to people. Every time we look to generate support for district work, we want to be able to articulate in a variety of ways why it's important. And so to be able to point right to the district's strategic plan and talk about how the funding that we seek earmarks with the goals of the district, it just makes our work easier and much more effective.
I would also just like to add that it's been amazing working with Kate and with the PEF board on this. From the very beginning, they've been tremendous partners, thought partners, supporters of the comprehensive plan work. We briefed them early in the process, and they've been engaged throughout. Kate mentioned earlier that today we found out that we had received a $10,000 grant from the Cohen Foundation. That was directed to something that was specifically called out in the comprehensive plan as one of our key strategies, which is working on cultural competency across the district for all of our staff. And many of the foundation donors and, businesses don't fund the school district directly, so our ability to work hand in hand with PEF to make sure that our requests are coordinated, that there are things that are supporting the work of the district is invaluable. And so they have been very much working with us side by side as they did their strategic planning. As you know, 3 of us are ex-official members. Mrs. Crocker attends all of the board meeting, all of the PEF board meetings as well. So we are very much working together and making sure that we are staying on the same page.
Ms. Thompson.
I just want to say it's really exciting to see how far this has come and where we started a long time ago and how it's evolved into the PEF. And I want to thank Mary Bennett. She was there from day one when we started what was the Portland Partnership, and Rob Roosh as well, and having been a board member there, and then it transforming the way it has, and with 2 former school board members, and the board that you've made up are really, really great, hardworking people, so I thank them for their time as well. I also want to thank you for the great community tool pieces that you've put together, the brochures, and I think the more communication we're getting out, like you're getting out, is very crucial. I also want to congratulate you on some really great community gatherings. You had a very successful gathering at the bunker. Ms. Morioni and Ms. Davis and I all attended, and it was very fun, but it was a great opportunity. Sorry? Oh, and Roberto. How could I forget Roberto? He was Marini's and I date. Oh, that's right. Okay, sorry, Roberto. Another great gathering of community members, but I also want to thank Kate. And I watched your TED Talk, and although it was not directly about the PEF, but the way that you've just grown from a board member to board chair to staying on as a board member and then growing with this position. I just want to thank you for all of your passion, your direction, and really taking the hard work that we've done over the years and the past years and really bringing things to fruition. So thank you very much for all of your leadership as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Morioni.
I completely concur with everything that Ms. Thompson just said. I appreciate all of your hard work, all of you, and I know it's not easy at times, but it's only been 2 years, and it's already the increase that we've seen already, and what you have been able to accomplish has been really remarkable in just 2 short years. So I applaud all your hard work and efforts, and I really do appreciate all that we can do as a partnership. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Well, I would just say I echo those thank you and congratulatory comments as well. I came on the board just early enough to see this transition from an idea that came out of a report of a task force into fruition, and now here we are at the end of the first 2-year contract, and I think this is a great success report. So congratulations. I think this was the right idea from the start. And I also want to compliment your board attendance. Every time you come before us, you've got like 6 or 7 people with you.
Great board.
So, yeah. So thank you all.
Thank you for having us, and I appreciate all the comments, and I just want to say that I work hard, but my gosh, the board members, this is truly a working board. So the efforts and the output is a little bit me and a whole lot of them, so thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the Nellie Mae presentation. Superintendent, Ms. Crocker.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I am delighted to bring the main part of our business meeting to an end this evening by introducing Maureen O'Brien, who is going to speak to us about our current Nellie Mae work with a perspective looking back, but also to the year that we have coming forward. As you know, Maureen has been with us from the beginning, since the inception, and has lightened the load enormously by assuming such a myriad of responsibilities from her perspective at the district office and her involvement through Jobs for Maine's graduates, and now, of course, is sticking with us for another year, thank goodness, as we truly bring this work to its culmination at all three of our high schools, Casco Bay High School, Portland High School, and Deering High School. And I'm running out of things to say, you two, so are we just about there?
I can start while the AV assistant here does his work. Yep.
The cap off the... No, we'll do that.
So I'll start talking. So hi, I am Maureen O'Brien, and I know some of you are really excited to see that I have a PowerPoint for you. But it'll help. You can read along. It's also in your packets. So my official title is New Models Facilitator. Basically what that means is that I connect the dots on the Nellie Mae grant work. Thank you. Thanks. So among the 3 high schools in the district, the central office, Jobs for Maine's graduates, the Nellie Mae Education Foundation, and our various community partners. I'm thrilled to be here tonight to talk to you about the work that's been done over the last really 5 years, but also with a focus on the last year, and as we head into the final year of this grant. And I'm thrilled to say that we actually have, Carlos, thank you. This is a very, very busy time for the high schools, of course. It's graduation week, and so they've sort of empowered me to do this presentation on behalf of the schools. So, to start with, this partnership started back in 2011 with a planning grant, and since then, Nellie Mae has invested almost $9 million into this work at the district and high school level. That's a ton of work and a long time that's been dedicated to this. And one thing that we've realized is that sometimes when you're in the weeds of doing this kind of work, you don't take the time to step back and reflect and think about how far you've come. So you have an opportunity now to hear from some of our high school and district leaders, because we asked the people who've been involved in the leadership of this from the very beginning to think about what the process has been and the progress that's been made. So I just want to play you a little video here so that you can hear directly from them. Of course we need volume. There's speakers.
Very early on, we recognized the concept of what it meant to be student-centered was difficult to translate at the individual level. It made sense from a philosophical perspective, and Nellie Mae, right from the beginning, they defined, here are the tenets of student-centered learning. And when you read those, intellectually, they made sense. And anytime we shared those with anybody we were talking to in the process, they made sense. But then when we got to the point of saying, yeah, but what does that mean day to day? What do we have to put into place or change or make happen? So that's happening for the students, that it goes from paper to real life. We recognized very early on that that would be the challenge in this work.
Recognizing common work around shared key ideas, extended learning opportunities, getting to know kids well, the idea of a senior capstone, standards-based assessment, all of those things are concepts that we all think are important at each of the schools, and so it's in our interest to share what's working. And I don't think that was so clear before, that we had some common purpose and vision we were all striving towards.
There is a definite change among the collaboration within the schools. I see Casco Bay High School becoming a model that we look toward to gain information from, to learn from their experience and to tap into their expertise, and that's a whole new relationship for us, teacher to teacher. Portland High School, through our proficiency-based work, and Casco Bay also, but the teachers meet together in their content teams, and that's one of the tenets of student-centered learning, the proficiency-based, also state law. So I've seen that relationship form, which hasn't been before. Even administratively, principal to principal, there's been much more collaboration and honest conversations, and it feels like the amount of competition is decreased. It's still there because there are a finite number of 8th graders and all 8th graders get to choose. So that's one of the wonderful effects of this grant, the student-centered learning, is that we now all have a unique personality.
And I think teachers knew each other, but not in the way that they do now, because now they're meeting twice a week, every week for 3 years. One of the teams has been together that long, and so you can imagine the relationships that are there, and just the knowledge of what's going on in the science classroom next door is huge. I mean, it's a totally different world. So, yeah, it's come a long way. It's come a long way.
I think we've seen a lot of growth in the last 3 or 4 years because it has been a 3 or 4 year end game, and it's not even done now. I think when I first went into this, I figured this is a 5 to 10 year project. This is going to take a generation really of students K through 12 coming through to see the difference, and where we are right now is going to look where we'll be in 5-10 years will look different than where we are now.
And I think what we want are for students to be thinking of who they are and what they're great at, and building on those talents, and to explore different interests, and that they will connect their courses and their academic work that they're doing to real life, to exploring careers that interest them, to thinking about what their best post-secondary options would be for them, and to see a kid do that continuation from 9th to 12th, and to have experiences that are tied to real life, to build on the job shadows and the internship experiences and the capstone and all of that, but to have those things really connected to academics and to classrooms, and to see a kid graduate that picked a pathway, an interest, and took that strand through in the courses they took, in the job shadow experience they had, in the internship they chose, and the capstone they finally did, and then beyond, right? And then to see them pick a school and a major that aligns with that, I think that's when I'll feel like we've done it.
When the students walk out of Portland High School, they're going to be better college students, they're going to be better employees, and just more productive citizens. So I don't think there's any doubt that as the pathways and the academies here are developed, as we introduce more expanded learning opportunities, that Portland High School can really be a model of education when it comes to introducing students to real-life experiences.
Good job! Our curriculum will shift to more of a global focus, preparing for global competency, global citizenship. Our students would be instilled with a sense of efficacy, that they can make a difference, and they will make a difference, and as an individual, I can make a difference. students, and they will believe that and know that and actually make a difference.
I think one of the things that's most heartening about this work is that it has been sustained. I mean, I've been involved in a lot of grants over time, and usually it's 2 or 3 years and out. So I have tremendous respect and gratitude to Nellie Mae for sticking with it for 5 or 6 years, because that's how long it takes to shift a culture in a lasting way. And, you know, I think, as you know, there's been a fair amount of turnover at central office, there's been turnover in the buildings. But despite all those shifts, I think, you know, there have been some cultural shifts that are going to stick here, because we're holding to it and not moving to the next shiny object. I think the ideas that the reform work are built around are ideas that will stand the test of time.
So they say it better than I ever could, but I'm going to keep talking for a few more minutes. I know you guys have heard from the high school principals throughout the year with their school success plans and the specific work that's being done at each school, so I'm going to speak at a little bit of the sort of bigger picture level about some of what the grant has funded through the years, just so that everybody kind of has the context. So for starters, you just heard Ira Waltz from Deering and Sarah Obari from Portland High School talk about the models. So back when this process first started, each of the large comprehensive high schools selected a learning model. Casco Bay, of course, was expeditionary learning from the start. So Deering chose the International Studies School Network model, which is focused on teaching kids global competencies, as again you heard them speak about in the video. Portland chose the worst acronym in the world, the Johns Hopkins Talent Development Secondary Model, which you usually hear referred to as Hopkins, if they refer to the model at all, because frankly, unlike ISSN and expeditionary learning, Hopkins is not a network, it's not a long-term relationship with this provider. They come in for 3 or 4 years and they set some things up and provide the supports for things like the freshman academy and the establishment of the career pathways in the upper level academies, and then they move on and the school kind of takes it from there, which is where Portland is now. And Casco Bay, the grant has enabled them to continue to enrich their relationship with EL and have more structured coaching every year. So just some of the other kind of buckets that have been funded, expanded learning opportunities. So at this point, you know, at the end of year 5, we've seen hundreds of job shadows and internships, excuse me, and other ways of connecting students to the business community. Just probably, I'd say close to 24 new courses have been funded through the grant. What the grant pays is not faculty positions for these, but startup costs for things like Project Lead the Way at Portland High School, which is the engineering courses, and the emergency medical response course, and I've lost count of how many advanced placement courses have been started up at both schools. So it's really enriched the curriculum of both schools. Student support blocks, I think you guys have heard quite a bit about. There's the What I Need Now block at Deering and the Bulldog block at Portland, which is enabling students, especially as we move into the proficiency-based system, to get really individualized support and also enrichment. And then, so Nellie Mae calls this the district level systems change grant, based on the idea that in order to really make change at the school level, you have to have supports at the district level as well. And so on some of the, again, kind of the big picture, the grant funded support for the strategic comprehensive planning process that the district just went through. A lot of professional development and kind of change management support around building teacher leadership in the high schools. Collaborative processes, which really laid the foundation for the final item there, which is the transition to proficiency-based system. The high schools started working together and finding common things like the capstone under this initiative, which I personally, as an observer, would say has made the proficiency work much more effective, because they have a habit now of working together and collaborating. So, Every year since this grant started, Nellie Mae has contracted with a company called Education Development Corporation, I think they are. They're out of Massachusetts, and they come in and collect data about the work that's being done. You have the latest report from them in your packet. That's the full EDC evaluation from last year. They visit us, they do site visits, they usually spend 3 days in the district, they visit each high school, they do classroom observations, talk to students, talk to teachers, talk to administrators and central office, and then they also do student and faculty surveys. This year's surveys are actually going on right now. So it's a deep dive into the work that's being done, and then they crunch all the numbers for us and, you know, kind of evaluate the progress. I'm not going to read you the quotes that are here, but I did go through and pick some of the ones that we're most excited about, because we saw in last year's report some big growth in areas where we had been hoping to see growth. Personalization is somewhere that we've always been strong in, special education and ELL, but less so in our general ed classrooms as EDC's done the evaluation, so this was a big move forward. And student ownership, you know, which again, the idea is in order, in a proficiency-based system, for students to really focus on what they need to learn and the support that they need, a student needs to really own their learning and their own sort of pathway to getting there. And as you'll see, the Portland high schools get very high marks for this. For the first time this year, they compared us. So DLSC is the District Level Systems Change Initiative. There are 15 districts throughout New England right now that Nellie Mae is working with, from Hartford, Connecticut, Burlington, Vermont, Pittsfield, New Hampshire, Revere, Mass. I mean, it's literally all over the map, and they're all different size districts. Some of them have very similar size and demographics to us. Some of them are very different, but not going to lie, we were pretty excited to see how we matched up with some of these other districts who are in many cases doing more targeted, very specific, almost project work, where we're doing whole school transformation, and yet, you know, we come out on top in a lot of the comparisons. So that was kind of exciting to see. And as you can see, that final quote there is the hope, right? Is that as the work continues and this becomes embedded, we start to really see the changes in student achievement. So what's next? Next year is our final year of this grant. That's our budget, just over $500,000. The priorities remain the same. As everybody, I think, knows at this point, the high schools are very focused on the shift to the proficiency-based system, which requires a lot of support and a lot of professional development. Expanded learning opportunities. Again, this is our last year with grant-funded expanded learning opportunity coordinators at Portland and Deering, so that's a priority for us to figure out how that work will continue when the grant is done. And really, the one that's last should be first, which is sustainability. So we've spent this entire year as a leadership team discussing, trying to really do a deep dive into what's been funded, the work that's been done, the changes that have been made, what's working, and what needs just a commitment and what needs resources. A lot of what has happened over the last 5 years is culture shift, and that won't necessarily take an actual financial commitment, but there are also a lot of pieces that obviously cost money. And so over time, some of those have been moved into the local budget, some of those have been absorbed in other ways. So by the end of the year, we'll have a true finalized plan of how the schools in the district are going to move forward from here. And that's it. Actually, I should say, I just want to thank you guys for your support, because one thing that has really encouraged Nellie Mae to continue to support us is the board support. We've seen other districts where that's not the case, and in fact, at least one other in Maine that did not get their grant renewed because there was not public and board support. So without the support of the board, we wouldn't be where we are now, and especially a few of you who've been around from the beginning and have attended meetings and conferences and, you know, been there to help host when the Nellie Mae board has come to town. So we really appreciate that, because we would not have been able to do this without that support.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Ms. Morioni.
I also just want to thank you, Maureen, because I remember, in the earlier days, it was always, it was hard for the board to figure out what was our purpose in all of it and how can we best stay informed, understand. Even at some points we were told, no, you don't even really need to worry about it, board, and when oftentimes we didn't like that answer. And so I appreciate you too, because you've always seen it as a critical, we've been a critical, like you said, cheerleader for it, and to be able to explain it to parents, talk about it, encourage, you've encouraged questions, found answers when we've needed them, so I really do appreciate your hard work and your leadership in all of it as well, because we have had lots of turnover along the way, even during these last years, and so yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other comments, questions? Seeing none,
May I comment real quick? I also want to thank Maureen, and I also want to thank Mrs. Crocker for their work on the Nellie Mae grant, and really the sustainability work that they're engaged in is absolutely critical as we move forward, thinking through how to continue to resource some of the important aspects of this work that do take resources is something that we're going to be challenged with. Obviously, things like supporting the work of the extended learning opportunities staff at both of the high schools is absolutely critical work. The type of results that you see, the level of engagement from the students, their commitment and understanding that they are in charge of their learning, those things happen because they're given opportunities that don't happen in traditional settings, and that is very much powered by teachers and by those opportunities that the extended learning folks have been able to provide. And so figuring out how to do that is going to be an absolutely critical piece for us. And, being able to maintain somebody who obsesses over making sure that we continue to do the type of transformative work that has gotten those results is also something that we need to figure out how to do that within our current organizational structure. So, Maureen, you've done a tremendous amount of work, obviously for a long time that predates my time here, but over this past year, I've just been so incredibly impressed with your work ethic and the amount of knowledge and understanding of this work that you bring. So, thank you very much for that. And I really do urge you to read that report, because sometimes reports can be dry, but this one will just bring joy to your heart. So absolutely.
And there is an executive summary as well.
It's probably the right place to start.
Thank you.
Just a couple things. I want to recognize Carlos is in the audience as well. He's been a cheerleader for Nellie Mae for a long time for Daring. But I was just thinking of something, I was talking to Ms. Morioni, where we are coming into our final year. And I remember the application going in, and Ms. Turner and Dr. Morris and others working on it, and the board being kind of skeptical about the whole thing. And we've come a long way, like you said. But I'm wondering, and if we could just bank this, where this is the last year, that really to have a culmination, because they also believed in us and took on the work with us, the foundation. So to recognize them as well as a partner, I'd like us to think about something when this is closing up, to really, because I think it's crucial for us as a school district to really partner with not only foundations and businesses, but philanthropy is a huge part of education these days, and I want to make sure that they know how appreciative we are of their help to really transform the district and give our staff support and so on and so forth. So if we could make note of that, and then we can talk about it, at a later date.
And I do want to say that part of JMG's culture is we love a good party, and so there is a plan. It's this big at this point, but we will definitely plan to do. In fact, what we've talked about in the leadership meetings is kind of making this whole year a celebration of the work that's been done and really highlighting all these great stories that are out there and the changes that have been made that, again, you miss sometimes in the day-to-day, so absolutely, and I think it'd be great to know what kind of role the board can play in helping us celebrate.
Yeah, and I think just to recap it for our community too, because I think from day one, people were just like, what is Nellie Mae? And how are you doing? And what are you doing? And the confusion. And I think, just not the culmination to thank the funder as well, but also the community, because I think there was a lot of parent and trepidation of making these changes. And so I think whenever we, finish something like this, like a SIG grant and this type of thing, is really show the community how this made a difference. So again, we don't have to discuss it tonight of how we can go about that, but I'm sure meeting of the minds with Ms. Lipp and so on and so forth will get something. But thank you, and I also just want to thank again Carlos for his leadership, as well as those at Portland High School. Thank you.
And I was going to say, I want to thank Sheila. When I turned around before, I didn't see you. Sheila Jepson, who has many other things to do this week and was here for the presentation as well, so I appreciate that.
Ms. Morioni had one more.
I just wanted to also say, as a board, we should thank them for funding us, because they helped pay for our trip to Boston last year and helped fund some of the trip that we just did for the national conference. And so they've also supported our board work with that as well. So I don't want to forget that piece when we think about thanking them. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. There's one final thing. I'm just realizing one of the huge successes from this is just the mere fact that our 3 high school administrators are so extremely close now and working so collaboratively and sharing ideas. And it's been such a huge transformation over the years, when it used to be just in silos and working, okay, we've got our thing going on here. And now it just really seems, and I think I see a lot of nods with that, but I think that is a huge success already, so thank you.
I agree. This is a huge, huge sense of pride for our district, so thank you. Okay, and where it is before the hour of 10 o'clock, we would take public comment on any items not on this evening's agenda. Seeing none, I would call for a motion for adjournment. Ms. Hudson?
Before we go into adjournment, can you just let the community know where we're moving into?
Yes. Following the meeting, we will be moving into workshop on facilities assessment. And now a motion for adjournment. Ms. Thompson, seconded by Ms. Bendel. All those in favor? It's unanimous with the students voting in the affirmative.